to see who has arrived. Captain Smith speaks with one of the elders. He tells him we have gifts for Chief Powhatan, brought him from England. Will the great chief come to Jamestown to receive his gifts? The elder says that Chief Powhatan is in another village, 30 miles away. He will send for him immediately, but he will not arrive until tomorrow. I am relieved. We do not have to anger Chief Powhatan quite yet. It is beginning to get dark, and the air is filled with chirping of crickets and cicadas. The elder motions for us to follow him, and he leads us to follow. He leads us to a field. 2 young boys lay down mats for us to sit on, and they build a fire. Are we being invited for supper? Are they about to start cooking on the fire? I wonder. We sit on the mats with various people from the village. They come to sit near us. A few old men and women, many children, and young warriors. They are all silent, their faces expectant, as if they are waiting for something to happen. But no one brings food to cook on the fire, and my stomach begins to churn. What is going on? What are they expecting to happen? I am glad I have my sword, but what are they going to do with us? Captain Smith sits on the mat next to me. His eyes are wary, and I know that he too suspects this might be a trap. I touch his sleeve. What are they doing? I whisper, and suddenly, shrieking and howling erupt from the forest. The same battle cries I heard the night James was killed. I leap to my feet, and I pull out my sword, ready to fight and slash. Captain Smith draws his sword. He seizes an old man sitting near us and holds the sword to his throat. Our soldiers aim their muskets into the forest. The howling comes closer and louder. Our attackers will be upon us at any moment. Out of the shadows, a little girl comes running. She rushes up and she stands bravely in front of the loaded muskets. It is Pocahontas. I promise no harm will come to you, she says, holding out her hands, palms up. If I am wrong, you may kill me. Captain Smith lets go of the old man. He translates what Pocahontas has said for the soldiers, and they slowly lower their muskets. All right, Captain Smith says, still looking wary. Pocahontas recognizes me and smiles. She comes to me and Captain Smith and gives us that same look of expectancy I've been seeing all evening. Just watch, she says, and then in English she adds, you like. I grin. Captain Smith must have taught her some English words during her visits to the fort and visits to her village. She takes our hands, pulls us both back down onto our mats, and then settles in between us. The fire casts a moving light. Into the firelight leaps a form. Is it a buck? I blink. Is it a woman? She is wearing the horns of a buck. Another woman leaps into the light, and then another, all dancing and shrieking their battle cries, their bodies painted white and black and red. Some wear buck's horns on their heads, and each carries a weapon. One a club, another a sword, another a bow and arrows. The young women leap and whirl around the fire, their battle cries now mixing with the music of drums and rattles. They bring the night alive with their warriors' dance. I watch, spellbound. It is magic. The music and dancing lasts for at least an hour. And then the women run off into the darkness of the forest, shrieking the same way as when they came. There is a moment of hushed silence. Then everyone starts talking and laughing, with children running and playing, and everyone getting up from their mats. Pocahontas looks at me, and her eyes were glowing. Did you like it? She asks in Algonquin. I nod enthusiastically. Wow, I say. This is a new Algonquin word I learned from Namatok. Wow is their word for wonder and awe, and it is definitely the best word to describe what I've just seen. I have heard about the masquerades in England with their grand costumes and music and acting, but only nobles are allowed to see them. Now I have seen a New World masquerade while sitting next to a princess. With torches lighting our way, Pocahontas leads us back into the village to one of the houses. There, the young women dancers join us, still in their costumes of body paint. They all act as if they are in love with Captain Smith and our soldiers. They crowd around them, giggling and saying in English, "Love you, not me? Love you, not me?" I raise my eyebrows at Pocahontas. Who teaches them that? I ask. She gives me an impish look and shrugs. I smell something delicious and turn to see several older women bringing in platters of food. There are large wooden bowls of steaming beans, peas and squash, platters of roasted fish and venison, baskets of bread and fruit. It is a feast. I eat until I can't stuff in another bite. And when Namatok sees me yawning, he takes me by the shoulders and steers me toward the door. You will sleep in my house tonight. Outside, the night air is brisk, but when we enter Namatok's house, it's toasty warm from a fire in the middle of the dirt floor. The smoke gathers in the high ceiling and escapes through a hole in the roof. Lining the walls, there are platforms made with poles, reed mats, and skins. I see that Namatok's brothers, the 3 little boys who greeted him when we arrived, already asleep on the platforms. He points to where I will sleep. Next to the smallest boy, he gives me a deerskin blanket to keep me warm. As I lie on the bed, I can still hear the talking and laughing coming from the house where the feast was going on. Namatok is right, I think. His home is much better than Jamestown. There is more food and more joy to be had in one night here than a whole year in Jamestown. Thomas Savage only stayed for a little while in Werowocomoco. Why did he not beg to be allowed to stay forever? I wish I could come here to live too. I would learn Algonquin language even better, and I would be able to trade and help the colony. Namatok could teach me to make a bow and arrow and to shoot straight. I could hunt and help feed us. I wonder if this is what Reverend Hunt means about making decisions out of love. Love for our newfound Indian friends. Love for our fragile new world. I remember when we first landed in Virginia, and again the night of the Indian raid, how I thought I hated all of the natives, and I wanted our men to shoot them and kill them. Those thoughts seem so strange to me now that Namatok has become my friend, and Chief Powhatan has rescued us from cold and starvation, and the Princess Pocahontas has treated us as her countrymen. This new world is a good place to live, I think, as long as we live in peace with the Powhatan people. And then I remember how Captain Smith dressed as a warrior to bring news of the coronation to Chief Powhatan, how he said this news would not sit well with the chief. And I wonder how long the peace and the love will last.